So what can fans, hardcore fans of Mad About You, expect from your panel tomorrow night?
Well, the first shock will be that Helen and I are not in our 20s. That is going to be a jolt. She looks like she still is. I, however, do not. We have not done any of these together.
Wow.
She's done a few, I've done a few. So it's fun. And you know, when we did the show in prehistoric times, there was no social media and there were none of these things. So it's only in recent years when we get to do these and people, it's kind of, it's very heartwarming and validating to meet all these people who go, we love the show, I love this episode, boy, my husband and I do this joke all the time, my wife and I. It's like, I never knew this. So it's fun for us to hear and find out that all the hard work that we put in 30 years ago was actually being not only appreciated, but continued to be enjoyed.
That's great, Paul, really. So what is the key to keeping a sitcom character fresh for you as a performer? And how did you handle scenes written for Paul that you disagreed with in the context of the character?
Well, you know, when I created the show, and I made a point of calling my character Paul, so I wouldn't have to act too hard. And so much of it was taken from my actual marriage and all the other writers bringing in their own marriage. So it was, you know, I very, very cleverly made a little world where I didn't sound too different than myself.
Very good.
So I don't think there were too many scenes that I don't think I ever disagreed. Paul would never say that. Maybe sometimes he was a little dumber than I am. I like to think. I think I'm a little more clever.
Diner is one of my favorite films, and you've noted it was a breakthrough for you, of course. Which scene do you think really gave you satisfaction when you saw it on screen for the first time and gave you the nudge that perhaps you could have a career as an actor?
Well, you know, in the script, there was virtually no lines for my character. It was all going to be, Barry Levinson had this idea that this movie about 5 guys and then the 6th guy would be funny and to be determined later. And so he met me in New York, and I had no idea what it was going to be. And he just was so smart, you know. And we shot all those diner scenes at the end, so we were all friendly and tired of each other and all that. So when we started arguing about the roast beef sandwich and give it to him, it was just silliness. And then Barry would say, do that again, you know, the thing where you're asking for a ride home, do that about the sandwich. I went, really? No, trust me. So when I saw that, I went, oh, I guess that's funny. So it's really to his credit, his eye and his smarts.
That's beautiful, man. So why do you think stand-up comedians make such great actors, both on a comic and dramatic side? Does it have something to do with the vulnerability of that type of performance?
Interesting question. You know, I don't know. I think that the best comics, or comics that I enjoy the most, is when you actually see a person up there, and you know you're actually sharing, and you're watching and go, okay, I know who this person is, and I guess that's a big part of acting too. Not that you have to be biographically correct, but that you have to believe that there's a real person up there. So you know, we spend a lot of our time. Comics spend a lot of hours working on their act and getting it right. So I guess some of that work shows up on screen sometimes.
Finally, what is the story about your appearance in Whiplash, and what did you understand about that character within the context of Andrew's struggle?
Well, you know what I remember, and Damien Chazelle wrote a beautiful script.
Oh, he did. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy and genius. He's really quite talented. And he wrote this. My part was there wasn't that many scenes. There weren't that many scenes, but what was there was very poignant.
Yeah.
And as a father, at the time, my kids were much younger, but I had already become aware of that dynamic where you want the best for your kids and you want to protect them, but you can only do so much. And at some point, they're gonna put their fingers in the fan. You know, they're gonna do something that you go, I told him so many times not to do that, and yet he did it. And that was at the core of that relationship. Like, I'm watching my son go down in a movie, watching him go down this path that is not good, is not healthy, and I can only stand here and watch it. And there was a shot. You know, it's interesting. The moment that I most frequently get comments on is the final scene where he's playing that last show, and I'm behind this glass just looking. And it was a really quick shot, but everybody got it like, oh, that's a father who's just locked out of the room, and he just can't help his son at this point. And it's if you have kids, you know that feeling, and it's a heart-tugging moment. So I really related to that.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2025.